And we talked about the different obstacles that teachers have to face when implementing mathematics and teaching kids ways to problem solve outside of just pure memorization. So here are some ways we can do that. We can establish mathematical goals to focus learning. All right, so an effective teaching of mathematics establishes clear goals that students are learning, and they situates goals within learning progressions and uses those goals to guide instructional decisions. The mathematical purpose of a lesson should not be a mystery to kids. They shouldn't have to be wondering and guessing what the lesson is going to be about. They should already know and have clear communication ahead of time. And then situational learning goals with the mathematical landscape supports the opportunities to build explicit connections so that students see how ideas build on and stack on each other like blocks, right? Like Lego blocks here, and relate to one another and come to view mathematics as a coherent and connected discipline. Math is all connected. One level of learning builds and you build on that level, it is the foundation for the next level. And you build on that foundation the next level. And if you leave that foundation as a mystery, you're going to make it hard for these kids to be able to continue on building those mathematical blocks to progress in their mathematical learning. Implement tasks that promote reasoning and problem solving. Guys, effective teaching of mathematics engages students in solving and discussing tasks that promote mathematical reasoning and problem solving and allow multiple entry points and varied solution strategies. Now, there are four levels of demand for problem solving. There's the lower levels, which is like memorization and procedures without connection. And then there's the higher levels, the procedures with connection and doing mathematics in a problem solving sort of way and connecting it all together. We want to focus on those higher levels of problem solving. All right, so determine a level of task when it comes to a student learning a math lesson. It's important to consider the prior knowledge and experience of that students who be engaging in the task. We don't want to give a student who's not prepared or not ready for a certain level of math if they don't have that building block, those foundations underneath that allows them to have the tools to solve the problem we're giving them. So for students to learn mathematics with understanding, there must be the opportunity to engage in a regular basis with tasks that focus on reasoning and problem solving using multiple entry points and varied solution strategies. All right, we want to give these kids not just one way, one avenue of solving a problem. We want to give these kids multiple avenues of solving a problem and keep giving them practices until that foundation is solidified and they can move on to the next step. Use and connect mathematical representations. All right, effective teaching of mathematics engages students in making connections among mathematical representations to deepen the understanding of mathematical concepts and procedures as tools for problem solving. All right, we want to, when we give these kids these multiple avenues of solving problems, we need to think about the different ways that kids learn. All right, there are a general classification schemes for types of representations. So these and are important connections among contextual, visual, verbal, physical, and symbolic representative forms. All right, so kids learn in different ways, right? No one kid is exactly the same. So some kids learn better through visual learning. Others learn better through verbal. Some like to write it down. Some like to see the problem in action. And those are all important tools to use when teaching any child how to learn a mathematical skill, a mathematical problem solving lesson. We need to use all the tools in our toolbox so that every kid has a chance to learn and build on that foundation and not be left behind. So children's representational competence can be developed through instruction and practice, guys. The practice of teaching these kids in different ways, it isn't just going to come, easy to everyone. Teachers need also to practice the best way to teach these kids the different types, the different tools of how to problem solve with mathematics. So facilitate meaningful mathematical discourse, all right? Effective teaching of mathematics facilitates discourse among students to build shared understanding of mathematical ideas by analyzing and comparing student approaches and arguments. Again, every student is different. So whenever you're presenting your different tools to these kids, step back and evaluate yourself on how that particular tool worked for the classroom. All right, if you're using let's say just the verbal aspect of it. You're up there, you're just teaching, and you're just talking about it, and it's not really working with the kids. You can see that in their understanding and their questioning, when they're asking for questions about not understanding, and you can see that in their tests and in their homework. It's a good idea to step back and try to use a different tool in your toolbox to figure out the best way to help these kids. So this course that focuses on tasks that promote reasoning and problem solving is a primary mechanism for developing conceptual understanding and meaningful learning of mathematics. So, two great mathematicians and teachers, Smith and Stein, described 5 practices for effectively using student responses in whole class discussions. Okay, so you have anticipating, monitoring, selecting, sequencing, and connecting. All right, these are more tools to be used in every teacher's toolbox. All right, anticipate what the questions the kids might have. Monitor the kids as they're doing the problem solving. All right, selecting, sequencing, and connecting with these kids in the classroom all together. It's a great way to help these kids learn the problems. Students may also have an opportunity to talk with, respond to, and question one another as part of the discourse community in ways that support the mathematics learning of all students in the class. Let the kids work together to solve these problems. Framework for moving towards a classroom community centers on discourse. Okay, so uh, Hufford equals Fusion and Sharon examine how teachers and students proceed through levels in shifting from a classroom in which teachers played the leading role in pursuing student mathematical thinking, and to one in which they assist students in taking on the important roles. The teacher that stands at the front of the class versus the teacher that gives the kids these problems and walks around with them to help them solve it. So the framework describes growth in 5 components: how teachers support student engagement, who serves as a questioner and what kinds of questions are posed, who provides what kinds of explanations, how mathematical representations are used, and how much responsibility students share for the learning of their peers and themselves. In conclusion, facilitate rather than direct. Work with the kids, stand with them, give them problems, let them work it together, and help them by building on the work produced by students. Position them to be authors of the mathematics and engage them in rich discourse among the important sets of ideas related to the problem.